still December 9th, 2011. This is part 2 of Mystery Rage Theater. I am ChazDragoon.
And this is December 8th.
Stop lying, Beta.
But
we also have KotatheLulzy and Darkrune here because they do not introduce themselves.
I was about to. Damn it.
Alright, our next story in this possible 3 to 4-parter is a year bullshit with Electronic Arts. And, there's a lot of reading here, so I will try to, find the most appropriate spot to start on here, but, let's see. Ah, here it is. Okay, this is a story. This is from RockPaperShotgun, where the story of someone on the Bioware forums got a 72-hour ban from doing something, and then he found out that it was a little bit more than a forum ban. So here's the story. Be careful what you say. That's the lesson Bioware forum user Arno, A-R-N-O, has learned in the last 24 hours. The last 24 hours being March 11th, 2011. After an ill-advised comment on the Bioware forums has led to his EA account from being locked, such that he cannot play his purchased copy of Dragon Age 2 for 72 hours. It reveals a clause in the terms of service that a company buying an EA game will surprise the vast majority can't speak, who do not read the microprint, misbehave on the forum, as Arno fully admits that he did, and you will have your right to play a legitimately purchased game that you bought get taken away from you, forever if they wanted. Arno made a mistake. He posted a comment in which he said, quote, "Have you sold your souls to the EA devil, BioWare?" In the word of the forums, it's a relatively innocuous remark, but if you're EA and someone's come into your front room, you may not want to put up with such insults. Sure, go say them somewhere else, but if you're in our house, fuck that. Constructive criticism, it was not. A response we might expect would be, well, we just mock you in our comment thread or edit your comment, keep doing things we've asked you not to do, and we'd block your account, which is essentially what happened. Arno received a 72-hour ban, but not only from the forum, but it seems his entire EA account.
Sorry, phone's ringing.
In the last few years, EA have tied an increasing number of their games to their universal user account, the same login used for Burnout Paradise as for Mass Effect 2. It's a pretty convenient thing to a gamer, but it turns out it offers a greater power than you might think, because now Arno, despite wanting a copy of Dragon Age 2 that unlocked at midnight last night, is unable to authenticate the game with the account it's tied to by pre-release DLC, and thus cannot play. He's also locked out of an enormous amount of other gaming content. For instance, Arno tells us he wanted to play Dragon Age Origins, but now he'd now have to start a new game, since all of his save positions are tied to the DLC. Try to play those without being logged into EA, assumes that it's a pirated DLC, and refuses to run. And his second forum account has been locked because he suggested that bans like this could lead people to piracy, something he stated he does not intend to do. We've seen Arno's correspondence of BioWare, and it's fair to say he's not been as controlled as he would have been. While there's been no abuse or inappropriate language, he's certainly cocky. BioWare's response so far has been to repeatedly state the rules to Arno, with the moderator explaining to him, quote, "It's not like you get to pick and choose your own punishment when you break the rules. The various punishments, up to and including permanent bans, EA account termination, and loss of access to entitlements, is clearly laid out, and it's part of the rules you agreed to follow and govern by." They've also locked threads discussing this matter. During Arno's attempt to find out what he'd done wrong, the EA live chat told him, quote, "You have been banned due to some inappropriate content posting on forums and cannot reveal it due to security policies." End quote. Perhaps the most confusingly to the moderator comment is in the locked thread in which he attempts to explain the crossover between BioWare and EA rules. Quote, 1. BioWare community bans are forum only and can only be for as little as 24 hours. These bans should have no effect on your game or ability to play or ability to use all the features of this website/community. These bans are handed out by BioWare mods as a result of your travels around the forum and or issues reported by fellow community members. 2. EA community bans come down from a different department and a result of someone hitting the report post button. These bans can affect your access to your game and or DLC. Because the Bioware community now operates under the same umbrella as its abusive stepfather EA communities, community members will all have to explicitly agree to abide by and be governed by both sets of rules. Consider it an added incentive to follow the rules you say you're going to follow. End quote. If you couldn't tell where I ad-libbed there, good job. And there's no doubt they can do this. It certainly does state that that in the EA terms, they, without question, reserve the right to take away your access to games you've bought at their discretion, and no refund will be offered. It says so here, quote, EA may also terminate your accounts and access to all related entitlements for violation of this terms of service, illegal improper use of your account, or legal improper use of EA services, content, entitlement, and products, or EA's intellectual property, as determined by EA in its sole discretion. You may lose your username and persona as a result of your account termination. If you have more than one account, EA may terminate all of your accounts and all related entitlements. In response to a violation in these terms of service and any other agreement applicable to EA services accessed by you, EA may issue a warning, suspend your accounts, selectively remove, revoke, and garnish entitlements associated to your account, and immediately terminate any and all accounts that you have established. Your account that the EA is not required to provide you to notice before suspending, terminating your account, or selectively removing, revoking, garnishing entitlements associated to your account. If EA terminates your account, you may not participate in an EA service again without EA's express permission. EA reserves the right to refuse to keep accounts for and provide EA services to any individual. You may not allow individuals whose accounts have been terminated by EA to use your account. If your account or a particular subscription for an EA service associated with your account is terminated, suspended, and or any items are selectively removed, revoked, or garnished from your account, no refund will be granted. No entitlements will be credited to you, and you're converted to cash or other forms of reimbursement, and you will have no further access to your account or entitlements associated to your account or the particular EA service. If you believe that any action has been taken against you in your account in error, please contact customer support and support.ea.com. To summarize, EA can take away your access to your purchased games at their sole discretion, and not offer any refund, while giving you the middle finger. That's what you agree to when you buy an EA game, and of course, this is not unique to EA. We are very aware of other services with similarly draconian bans and are actively investigating them. So be warned, there is no legal recourse here. The EA terms are clearly laid out, and you are required to agree to them before you install the game they provide. And our rules are ambiguous enough that they can choose to ban you at their own discretion. Oh, and of course it can all be avoided by just not posting on their forums. Or at least not being rude to do so. Edit. All this makes it a bit strange that 3 years ago EA told Shack News that they'd certainly not allow forum bans to affect gameplay. Quote, posting in EA forums is enabled by an EA Nucleus account, but access to forums and access to the games are separate. Players who have been banned from the EA forums are not automatically banned from the online access to other EA games. Players can be banned if they breach the terms of service or code of conduct in forum or game or service. Each forum, game, and service is managed independently by customer support representatives responsible for that specific forum, game, or service. So, yeah. Edit. The moderator responsible for dealing with the incident got back to us. I asked him to explain why this happens and for how long a ban could potentially last. His reply, quite bizarrely, was, "Sorry, I have no comment for you." So that was a story, a long one. But then it gets a bit crazier. Also, hi Avalanche, we're recording.
Hi.
Hi.
What are we playing?
We're not playing, we're recording a thingy. So sit back and listen.
Alrighty.
So put that into a nutshell, which I probably should have done. EA person got banned on Bioware's EA forum or whatever for posting stupid comments, and instead of just being banned from the forums, he gets banned from his games as well, which shouldn't happen according to a comment that was made 3 years ago when this during an interview with EA from another magazine. So Going further into the future, we go into November 14th, 2011. There were 2 other articles, I believe. One on there's another article that was on March 15th that stated that EA was working on fixing the game bans so that they wouldn't affect games, that they would be separate like they should be. So let's fast forward here to November 14th, 2011, where the article states, EA forum bans are still affecting games. Once again brought to us by RockPaperShotgun. You may remember back in March this year, a story that threw EA forum user Arno into the limelight. Having violated the rules of EA forums, he was given a 72-hour ban on his forum account, but found he was also unable to play online with his games. We've gone through all this. This led to an eventual brouhaha, which eventually resulted in EA's announcing that the ban had been a, quote, mistake, and that would promise that not only would Arno's gaming rights be restored, but they would fix the issue to prevent this happening again. They haven't. We're receiving information from a number of gamers who have received forum bans for a variety of reasons, who are finding that they are unable to play Battlefield 3 or any other EA game. And worse, when they try to contact EA for help sorting it out, they are either ignored, told it's tough, or otherwise. So what's going on? Three examples we've heard in the last week provide contrasting sympathies for those banned, but always with the same result. The thing to stress at this point is, no matter the reason, valid or otherwise, someone may have been locked out of their forum accounts on no circumstance should this affect their ability to play games. There's a whole separate set of rules that might see someone locked out of their EA account, and the legality of these, and EA's rights to prevent someone from playing a game they've paid without offering a refund, or another matter entirely. And one should not affect the other, as was explained by EA back in March. Anyways, EA Senior Director of Customer Support Boyd Beasley told Arno, quote, Unfortunately, there was an error in the system that accidentally suspended your entire EA account. Immediately upon your learning of the glitch, we have restored the entire account and apologize for the inconvenience this may have caused while accessing other areas of the EA service. However, 4 days later, on the 15th of March, we were still hearing about the same problem happening to other EA games, and contacted EA to find out why this was still a problem. It was, they told us, still an error. After we tried to get in touch with Boyd Beasley directly, we received a reply from someone within EA called Andrew Wong, who told us, as noted last week, we have identified an error in our system which has suspended the user's entire account within our terms of use policy has been violated. We are working to fix this and expect to have an issue resolved by the end of the week. Again, we apologize for the inconvenience. It is not our policy to prevent customers from playing single-player games. Any registered player who feels they have been banned inappropriately is urged to contact EA customer service.
Well, our customers are also following the fortune cookies, but that doesn't work too well.
The problem was intended to be fixed by the end of the week. This was 8 months ago. So why is it still happening? Why the mention of single-player games, for that matter? As if a forum ban is in any way related to playing online gaming when it is an offline gaming. The first person to get in touch with us about Battlefield 3 was Nick. It's hard to sympathize with Nick, to be frank. He made a stupid thread about teabagging on the EA forums, when he seemed to be a bit confused that he should get in trouble for suggesting that he dangle his balls in dead people's faces. Common sense would dictate that that's not a subject to be raising on a family-friendly forum. By the way, Battlefield 3 is not a family-friendly game. His astonishment expressed to us that this should be an issue isn't endearing. However, less endearing was EA's response. Following Wong's advice above, he contacted EA's customer support via email and live chat, and received a refusal to even discuss the matter both times.